first up is something I didn't even know about. This is a ECS 240. Will come with a single exhaust tip on both sides, but I went with the 7.6 rated to a wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, 12.3 inch.
Perfect.
Welcome to the AutoLust YouTube channel. And if you're new here, welcome. If you're already a family member, what's swinging, gang? Today, I have something extremely special for you N55 guys. Straight 6 bulletproof engine. If you don't already know, this engine is known for going 400,000+ miles just on a stock engine. But today, we're gonna put a steel cap on that and bulletproof this thing. I have a ton of parts that I need to go over with you guys, a ton of, maintenance parts, some goodies. I'm looking right at them behind the camera, so I can't wait to show you guys. So let's just get right into it. So if you don't know, this is my BMW 740 LCI. She is gorgeous. We've done so much to this car already over the past couple weeks since I bought her, by putting staggered 22-inch wheels on it, polyurethane bushings up front, lowering her down on H&R springs, spacing the wheels out a little, doing, just little mods here and there. We redid the entire drive shaft, bushings, guibos, center bearing, and a lot of other things. So the next things that we have in store for this car is what I'm going to show you right now. If you don't know what an N55 engine looks like, this is what it looks like. And this engine was very meticulously taken care of from the first owner, which I bought it from. It currently has a full Ceratec liquid moly and Ceratec oil change in it. The oil change was done every 4,000 miles, which is great because that's exactly what I do with my cars. I change the oil every 4,000 miles. Don't go by what BMW says unless you want a ticking time bomb. But I change my oil every 4,000 miles, 4,500 depending on when I can get to it. But yeah, let's get right into this thing. And first up is something I didn't even know about. This is a ECS tuning Kevlar lifetime warranty belt, and this thing protects against slipping, splitting, noise, and everything else. I definitely like the cool red color, and you're going to be able to see it, especially right there on top of that alternator. You're going to be able to see that belt, so it'll give a little like, oh, what's that? But this thing is serious. And I think it was about, I can't remember exactly how much it was, but I'm going to put a link down in the description for these parts, so you can get these parts if you want them to bulletproof your N55. But this is at least 3 times stronger, better, nicer than the factory belt. So big shout out ECS Tuning. And it has lifetime warranty if I didn't say it already. But just in case you don't go with this ECS tuning belt, what can happen is the belt can slip off of the engine, and for some strange reason it could get sucked past in pieces through the front main seal and clog up your oil pickup tube. And when that happens, goes the engine. And to prevent that from happening, even though I don't have the stock belt anymore and I'm not going to run the stock belt, I still bought one of these just in case. And what this does is it's a billet aluminum shield that goes over the front main seal, and you can see here that it bolts to the stock location. It comes with new bolts there, a little longer than the stock ones for this piece to go on. And what that does is it only, it protects the front main seal. So if that belt does slide off, it goes up against this and drops down instead of letting the engine suck it inside and clog up that pickup tube. So that's a good thing. Another billet piece we have, we bulletproofing this engine, gang. So we got a lot of billet pieces to get rid of all this BMW plastic. This is, they call it the Mickey Mouse ear coolant flange, and I'm gonna show you exactly where this is. If you can see, let me turn on this light just to get a little bit of more light here, a little bit more light. Okay, there it is there. Let me zoom in. If you can see, this and that, this bolt and that bolt are the top two bolts to this Mickey Mouse ear coolant flange. And what that does over time, from heat cycles, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, driving and cooling down overnight, that plastic gets brittle just like any other plastic. And what it does is going to crack right there around the where that neck meets the flat flange, and it's going to leak coolant. Telltale signs of this thing leaking is dry blue coolant down and around that area, and the smell of sweet. It'll smell like nice and sweet when you pop the hood, because for some weird reason coolant taste and smell sweet. That's why a lot of dogs get sick when they, you leave it around the garage when you got animals. So keep antifreeze coolant away from your pets. I don't know why they would make it taste sweet, but who knows, so it actually smells sweet as well. So that's a big sign for that. Okay, moving to the next billet part, and this is one of the nicest ones I have. I'm actually going to take this one out of the pack because it's not stapled together in the plastic like that one. Try to do it with one hand. All right, so if you don't know what this is, I'm fixing to tell you. It has a Vitten brand O-ring, or whatever it is. I guess Vitten is a certain registered O-ring. It's a lot stronger, higher temperature, higher pressure than the regular rubber O-ring. So I'm glad it came with one of those. And this is billet aluminum. It's a oil filter cap housing, and what that is this here. It replaces that. And I didn't want to do one of the like bright blues or bright reds or something that stands out so much, because at the end of the day, this is a gorgeous luxury car. I don't want it to look like a race car. So I went with this almost like dirty rose copper kind of color, and it's gorgeous. And it has the little M Sport on it. This isn't a M car, but it is the M Sport, so it is a bunch of M logos on the car for some odd reason from BMW, seal plates and stuff like that, steering wheel. So it was nice to have this with the little M logo on there, and it drops right on there. So what actually happens is, over heat cycles, the same as the Mickey Mouse ears for the coolant flange, over heat cycles actually just kills the plastic on this thing. And I'm explaining to you what overheat cycles is when we get to those boxes over there, and I'm gonna let you know why that happens on this car also when we get to those two boxes over there. But what happens is, I've actually seen this top piece cracked, but I think it was either user or owner error with this piece cracking, because it's not very common that this cracks on the top. What happens is the plastic threads inside, which screw down, they distort from the overheating cycles, and oil works its way up and it drips. And if you have one that's bad or is dripping, you will see it over on this side of the engine, and it's going to be going down, dripping down there, and it's going to be burnt to the side of there. That's an easy way to check if you have that and it's bad. So that's bulletproof in the engine. These parts here will be bulletproof in the engine. And we're also going to bulletproof things like the charge pipe, because as you see, that's plastic, and those are known for cracking and breaking over time, because it's plastic, and it's very small in diameter also, so it's not a lot of power going to be able to pass through there. So we're going to be upgrading that in the future. Front mount intercooler and catless downpipe also. That'll wake the engine up a little bit. It's around, I think, 340, 320 horsepower right now. And that'll give it about another 100 plus horsepower, make it around 750 levels of power with 740 gas mileage and reliability. So that's a win-win. Now getting to the actual maintenance side of things, is this car has a little over 100,000 miles, and it has no leaks. No oil leaks, no coolant leaks, nothing drops on the ground at all or drops down on the under trays. this car was meticulously taken care of. But the oil pan gasket does sweat a little bit, meaning it's a greasy film around it, meaning that it will leak eventually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna catch it before it does, and we're gonna put a brand new VR gasket on there. You know, and just a lot of people don't do it, and a lot of people advise against it, but I never had a problem with doing it. Is when you put these gaskets in, put a very, very thin layer of silicone all around it, and it's guaranteed never to leak. So that's what I'm gonna do, like I always do, and I never have a problem again with the gasket. Next is something very important for this car that it doesn't have a problem with, but it will have a problem with. This car has the factory VDO brand, VDO Continental brand electric water pump, and it has the plastic housing. And if you know what that means, you know that your water pump either look like this or it's gonna look like this sooner or later. And that's just the way they go. You know, either the front plastic housing cracks, it leaks from the gasket between the plastic and the aluminum housing, or the electronics inside go bad. But we got a fix for that. This is a Dorman OE fix. That's what they call it. You know, I'm not kidding. It's called, like, literally, we fix your crappy stuff, BMW, called OE fix water pump. And this is a solid aluminum housing water pump. As you can see, top and bottom is solid aluminum. It has upgraded electronics inside, and it has a lifetime warranty. So this should fix the problem that the factory pump has. My factory pump runs perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong with it, but it does have a little wet spot between the plastic housing at the top and aluminum housing. Like right here, it's a little wet spot. It doesn't drip, but it does have like calcium buildup on it, meaning that water is getting out, coolant is getting out. Even though it's not getting out enough to drip, it will. Keep in mind, this engine has over 100,000 miles. Not a lot over, but it has over 100,000 miles. And which, I mean, how dry this thing is, how dry that engine is, I mean, that's almost unheard of, you know, especially with none of the fixes that, you know, I'm used to doing on these cars. You know, if you watch this channel, then you guys know this channel is about big power and reliability, you know, which not a lot of channels can boast that. You know, it's either or, but here you get both. So in conjunction with this water pump here, and this water pump is a very good water pump. Omar, he actually has it on his X5 right there, the E70 X5, and it's been on there for you know, hundreds of miles, no problem, no sweat off his brow. So this is the main, most important part I'm gonna tell you about today, and I'm gonna show you it on the car before I show you it in the box, and that's the thermostat. And I'm gonna go ahead and brag about how easy the thermostat is to access in the F01, F02 740s. It's literally right here with, like, I can literally wrap my hand off. It's so easy. I could, you know, I could have a 2-year-old change this out if they had the strength enough to break the bolts loose. That's how easy this thermostat. This is literally the easiest thermostat to change in any BMW, period. This thermostat. So what I'm going to be doing is changing this thermostat out, and it's not a bad thermostat. There's nothing wrong with it. It works perfectly fine. So I'm going to be keeping it and using it as a backup in case something happens to the new one. But the reason I'm changing this thermostat is because it's a 217 degree operational thermostat. That's way too hot. Bro, I live in Florida. That's extreme hot. That's extreme heat. What I'm going to be doing is changing it to a 207 degree open temp thermostat. That's 10 degrees cooler. This is almost the same mod as the BMW N63, S63, TU9, TU, F90, thermostat mod I showed you guys in this video, you know. So I'm definitely going to be changing that. as you guys know, we're fresh off of BIMMER Invasion 2024. Fresh off of BIMMER Invasion 2024. And if you went to the Invasion, then you probably got a chance to see Olivia there. And if you did see her there, you would notice this. Let me take it back around back. Man, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. You would have noticed that I redid the exhaust tips here. You know, normally, or not normally, just period, the 740 would come with a single exhaust tip on both sides, but I went with the 760 exhaust tips and rear diffuser. Everything is OEM, so it was expensive, but the fitment quality is going to be perfect. Those are OE exhaust tips and an OE rear diffuser. The problem is I went to BMW Invasion exactly like that. You know, and it's a couple of screws that I spray painted black just so it looks cleaner. It almost looks like there's no rear diffuser missing back there, but it is, because it didn't come in time. It just came in today, so I missed it. I missed it on the Invasion by 3 days, so I had to drive Olivia like that. And you know, nobody noticed, and the car looks good. You know, I wouldn't keep it like that, but for the little time I had to have it like that, it didn't look bad. So as you guys can see, those are a lot of parts, and I mean, there's no way that I can put all of those parts on in the same video. That video is stretched maybe 2 hours, if that. I mean, if not more than that. So I'm gonna be doing this video. Oh, also, before I show you guys the things I've done to the inside, I also have a transmission service kit that I'm gonna do. I was gonna do the aluminum transmission pan with the just swap out transmission filter, but you know, that'll force you to go with a different company, and you have to buy that filter because only that filter will fit in that pan. And if something happens to that company or they phase out that filter, then you're gonna have to switch back to the factory stuff anyways. So I'm gonna stick with that, but I will be doing a transmission service once I'm done with the engine service and things like that. So now back to what we did on the inside. You know, this car looks totally different, you know, and if you watch the channel, you probably seen these things, or maybe you haven't, but it was a couple of things that I didn't like when I bought the car. You know, like the screen, the LCD screen, the heads up screen, not heads up display, but the iDrive screen. It had a few little scratches on it, you know, from, I guess, maybe, who knows, kids putting their hands on it or whatever. Well, I'm just gonna show you. Let's get right into it. Let me flip this camera around. So I upgraded to a wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay 12.3 inch screen, and it works just like the factory screen. As you can see, you know, you cut the car on and it popped right up. So I got 2-pop plan. If you know who that is. But yeah, and you can touch the screen and it switched to the Android side, or you can swap it back to the BMW side. It retains everything that already came. You know, I did an installation video on this screen maybe, I mean, I think it was way back when I first started YouTube. I did it on my 650 convertible, 650i convertible. Also, when I bought the car, this button here, the park button, these are known for cracking and breaking. It was already cracked, but it wasn't broken. So I swapped those out to the crystal buttons, the auto hold and the park with the black outline. And I did the same thing to the start button because that one was kind of like wore down a little bit. So I swapped those things out, you know, those couple things. I have a LCI. I mean, that's crazy that this car is the LCI and it doesn't come with the LCI steering wheel. They only did it for the 6 series and the 5 series. They did the LCI steering wheel. A lot of people like this steering wheel better in the 7 series because it looks like a more luxury steering wheel, but I will be going with this steering wheel because it looks a lot better, and I like the way it looks over the steering wheel that I currently have. And I think that's about it, what I'm going to be doing to the interior, because the interior is gorgeous. Like I told you, it is the LCI, so it's the long wheelbase. The only thing it doesn't have for some weird reason is rear window curtains. It doesn't look like 10 on the car, but it's 10 on it. But I wish it came with the rear window curtains, the back door window curtains, but it does come with the rear window curtain, which, I mean, I guess that's standard on the 7 Series, but it's highly, very, very highly optioned. Has a B&O sound system, which is almost unheard of for anything under a 750 or a 760. So, I mean, we got a lot of stuff to do. So, you know, like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned, because I will be doing these installation videos of these parts coming soon. And once the reliability and bulletproofing is done, then we can get into a little power and see what this baby can do. You know, she does weigh around, I think, like 4,400 pounds, you know, so that's pretty heavy. That's very heavy. So, but it's a lot lighter than my X5, which was 4,700 pounds with the same engine. And this car actually even feels zippier. So I can't wait to see what it feels like with the, you know, everything, you know, tuned and reliable. So like, share, subscribe, and Autolust out.